Oh man, see, I told y'all, rained a lot.
Nice neighbors around here, I guess.
Well, it rained a bunch last night. It's been raining a bunch the last like 5 days, so it's wet out here. But you can see our sweet potato plant beds are growing out pretty good right now. We've already started mowing these, which is always a good sign. So basically what we do here is we have a machine that it's hooked on the back of the tractor, and we drive over top and we mow the plants kind of level. You can kind of see how it's level out here. Basically we stunt the plants that are taller so that we let the other plants down here in the middle catch up, so that when we go and cut them, we can cut mostly all of the plants instead of wasting any, because we want them all to be 12 and 13 inches tall is what I like. So another reason why it's good to mow the plants is it makes them a little bit sturdier and stronger for the field. So, but yeah, it's always a good sign when we start mowing plants. It means we're getting pretty close to start putting them in the field. Usually I mow them for like 2 weeks. After that, they're pretty much ready to go to the field. So yeah, these are looking really good. A lot of plants down in here. When we cut these plants, I will not cut them with my pocket knife, but I'm just showing you. So, this is kind of what we're looking for. This plant right here is pretty much ready for the field right now, but there's a lot of small ones down in here that are not. Like, let's see. Here's a good example. You think that these plants right here are the same height, but they're not. This right here is just leaves right here at the top. This has absolutely nothing to do with the growth of the sweet potato plant. That right there is the growth right there in the center. That's where it's growing from. So really, this plant is actually like 4 or 5 inches tall. And this right here has its growth all the way here at the top. So that little spot right there, that's your growth. That's the top of the plant. This one's like 11 inches, 11, 12 inches tall. This is a good plant. If we were cutting these, this one right here, I would throw on the ground and we wouldn't use it. Because when I go out there in the field and I plant these, my setter is gonna leave them sitting up top, and we plant them as deep as possible, and it'll be into the ground about like this. So when I take this plant right here and I put it that far into the ground, well, all this right here serves no purpose for the plant. So now that's the only thing sticking up from the ground when I plant. So it's just barely on the top of the ground. When I come by and do my first plow 5 to 7 days after I plant, I'm gonna cover that up more than likely. Because when I come and plow, I'm gonna throw dirt into the center on top of the plant, in the center where the plant is, and I'll cover that up. Then it'll be like this, and it won't provide me nothing. It's just a wasted plant. And it won't yield the same because I can't plant it as deep. This one, covered up dirt, that'll be poking out. When I plow it first time, put dirt up to here, still poking out of the ground. That's why we mow them, to let these plants catch up to these plants. I'm putting drip fertilizer out here, and there comes a point where usually I like to try to stop that cold turkey just like 2 weeks before I'm gonna take them to the field. So I'll push them up until then, and I'll just stop and just let the fertilizer work its way out of the plant for the most part. Because if you take a plant to the field when it's hot and it's juiced up on fertilizer, this thing's just gonna wilt and die, and they won't survive near as well as plants that are kind of hardened off a little bit with a little less fertilizer. So basically I'm just kind of looking to make sure that these the time is right to cut the fertilizer off to them, and I think so. Some of the ones down there at the bottom, it's a really sandy spot, and so we give them a little bit more fertilizer. But up here at the top where it's heavier, I'm gonna cut the fertilizer off to them and just let them do their thing for the next like 10, 14 days, and we might start planting some. So that's kind of what I check out here is, need more fertilizer, or are we cutting it off? These, we're gonna cut it off.
So I just want to make sure he caught if I said anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because each sensor is going to be sending out somewhat of a pulse.
So this year we're going to run a trial with some new drip tape out here. It's from Netafim. It's called PC Drip Net, I believe. But anyways, it's pressurized, compensated from one end to the other. That's the idea, that every one of them puts out the same amount of pressure, across the road, across the field. So that's kind of what we're checking on. And we also are installing a grow spear. That thing is going to be really neat because it's going to help me monitor my soil moisture down in there. Don't mind my few dead squash right there. Don't even pay no attention to that. Can't always be perfect. You always got something dead. This is the grow spear. So yeah, we just put this bad boy in the ground, and it's pretty neat how it works. This is my first time ever using one of these things, but there's a sensor right here in the ground. This is the moisture sensor. It's sitting 32 inches into the ground, and it's got 4 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches, 16, and it goes all the way down to 32. And it'll tell me where the moisture is at, so I can kind of watch, you know, and understand. Like, most of what I'm going to be looking for is between 4 to 12 inches. That's where my squash will be, you know, feeding from for the most part. But when I see it get down to 16 and 20, I know that I'm pushing my water, I'm pushing my nutrients past the root zone. So, you know, anyways, it'll help me kind of maintain consistency across the field. So this thing's got cellular data, so I can pull it up on my phone. I can see the temperature out here at any point in time, and I can check the moisture anywhere I'm at, anytime. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how it works out. Very cool system. Another thing that we're doing out here in this field with that drip tape, we're just going to test the drip tape. So we've got some pressure compensated drip tape out here. Let's see if I can find where that bad boy's at. So yeah, there's emitters spaced 12 inches apart. These are just, you know, pressure compensated emitters, and they designed them really special. So we're just going to kind of see, because basically, like, you don't really need something like that, you know. I mean, well, it's nice to have it in a flat field too, but it really helps in a hilly area, so, which I have a really big drop off over there, so we're just going to kind of watch and see. So basically, the reason why they're looking like this right now is I had there was like a little stunting issue. I don't know if it was a carryover from something from last year, but it's a little stunting issue. So some of them are a little bit smaller than I liked. And there's like always a stage when I'm growing these things out that I really like to push fertilizer to them to get them to kind of boom out really good. So I knew they were at that point where if I didn't give them really good fertilizer, they didn't have a chance. So I've been pushing them, and then it's rained a lot. So like, it's pretty waterlogged out here, and I got them juiced up on fertilizer. So like, they're not handling the warmth of the day so good right now. But if they get through the day, tomorrow we're not going to give them no water, no more fertilizer, just kind of let them, you know, dry out a little bit, move through some of this moisture. They'll be perked up in like 2 or 3 days. You know, they won't even have any wilt to them. They'll look real good. So, but right now the sun's out, it's the middle of the day, it's hot. They're telling me, you give me too much fertilizer. At least that's what my experience has been. Because we've checked these, there's no disease out here, they've been tested. So, but I know there's like a line, there's a fine line, and I kind of stepped over it a little bit, but they'll be fine. Let's see if we can't find us a zucchini out here somewhere. Oh yeah, we got them coming in. Not quite ready to pick yet or nothing, but that thing's growing along. Got some flowers out here, we got more buds coming down in there. They're sizing up really well. They got a lot more sizing to do. We probably won't start picking any of these for like the next 10 days. Standing out here, these are my grafted cantaloupe, year 2. I liked them last year. So yeah, these things are growing along pretty good. We got them planted in the ground on time. Getting a lot of flowers out here, you know, starting to cover the plastic. Head out into the row a little bit. You can kind of see it out there. Yeah, these are, the variety out here is called Accolade, basically a sub Athena. We learned a little bit last year. I'm not sure if it was grafted or what, but we had issues with them being a little bit too soft, even though we were picking them on time, and I didn't have them juiced up on fertilizer neither. So we just switched. This is supposed to have a little bit firmer texture on the inside. A lot of places that we sell to, you know, they're going to chop them up and, you know, serve them in little containers, and they need to have some firmness to them for that process. So yeah, we switched that up a little bit this year. Going to see how they yield out. You know, we had really good success last year with the grafted cantaloupes. A lot of good size to them. You know, a lot of 80, 90 count bins, and where we were used to lots of 100, 110s. Later in the season, we might get like 150, 160 counts. Where the grafted, we kept them consistently sized. You know, even later in the season, we were still getting 100 counts. So yeah, these things look pretty good. Oh man, see, I told y'all, rained a lot. These are my slicing cucumbers. I always love when I come out here and you can find the leaves that are as big as your hand or just a little bit bigger. it's always usually a good sign for me if I can maintain that, and then they cover in really good, probably gonna have a good yield out here. So yeah, we got we got a lot of blooms out here. Got some bees in here pollinating. Here you go. Very, very small cucumber. Look at that little baby cucumber right there. Those will be big slicing cucumbers eventually. Probably in the next couple of weeks we'll start picking these. Maybe about literally like 14 days or something like that. We should start, those things will start sizing up. They go really quick. Once they decide to start setting those fruit and sizing them up, it's like next day they're like ready to go. So yeah, now it's just kind of sitting and watching them grow, let the weather do its thing, and hopefully, basically what's going to happen, the idea is that these things basically start intertwining, and you really won't see no dirt out here once these cucumbers get ready to pick. That'll pretty much be what you'll see. You'll see no row, just a solid blanket of leaves out here. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with them.